Hey everybody, it's more plant-based extravaganza. You're in my kitchen and I'm here with Elspeth Feldman and we're going to be visiting. You may have visited earlier in my kitchen too, and I appreciate it. I'm seeing one thing. Oh, great. Marilyn's saying she's excited. She watched Chef Jay's interview and enjoyed it. And that would be yours, Elspeth, that I'm probably butchering her name, and I already apologize just in case anybody watching is worried about that. Those of you who know me know there are all the words that I cannot say. So if for some crazy reason you haven't heard about the plant-based bundle yet, right? There's 100 of us going, plant-based bundle. Let me just tell you about it really quick. It's $49. It's for sale only through March 2nd at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time, which gives us East Coasters a little time to mess up. But if you want it, you should get it now. And if, depending on where you're watching this, you will find a link somewhere. If you buy through my link, be sure to email me your receipt. I have a special surprise for you. But what do you get for $49? That's great. I'm saying all these things. Over 100 products. So you get my dry mixes, bouillons, and sauce class. I've said this too many times, and I have another, I've even done another dry mix class since then. And that alone is $35. There's 6 recipes in there. And they're all shelf stable. So you make these dry mixes like you might buy in the store, except for it had dairy or salt or something that maybe you can't have in your diet. And then when you're feeling like you have this much energy left, which is me today, all you have to do is toast up a little bit of that, add some non-dairy milk, put it over your steamed veggies, your potatoes, whatever you're having. Easy peasy. And Elspeth, you've got a really awesome thing in the bundle too. Do you want to talk about yours for a minute?
Sure, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, thank you for having me here. And hello to all of your viewers. Nice to meet you. I am Elspeth Feldman, and I'm also known as the Speedy Vegan. And that's not because I run fast or move fast. It's because I cook fast. I'm known for getting dinner on the table in 15 minutes. So I am the Speedy Vegan as opposed to the slow vegan. So, but I do things slowly too. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I have in the bundle, which I'm super excited about. It's a 3-part cooking series that I did with my daughter. So it's called Perfect Plant-Based Parties, Potlucks, Picnics, and Prep. I got more of a tongue twister than you, Kathy.
And I want to go with you on all these things, though. As soon as I saw that, I was like, ooh, all the fun things.
Yeah, so it's 3 classes. Each class is about 90 minutes long. And along with the 3 classes, you get the recipe book, which is about, I don't know, about 35, 40 recipes. And so what happens in the first class is I go through all the party recipes, and I'm cooking in my kitchen here. My daughter, who lives in Boston, collaborates with me on this. So whilst I'm cooking, the camera's on me, and then when I'm clearing up and setting up for the next recipe, it goes to her, and she has a PowerPoint presentation where she goes through all the nutritional aspects of all the ingredients that are in the recipes, as well as some of the historical facts about the recipes, and also tips and tricks for navigating parties, potlucks, picnics, etc. So it goes back and forth. So it's a fun collaboration. So you get the 3 classes, you get the recipes, and that class alone is for sale on my website, thespeedyvegan.com, for $49.99, which is the price of the bundle, $1 more than the price of the bundle, actually. So you could get my class or my series, as well as 111 other books, courses, over 1,000 recipes. There's just so much in this bundle. So it's a no-brainer. Everybody's wondering what the catch is, but there is no catch. That's the beauty of it. And it's all whole food, plant-based, and oil-free. So definitely take a peek at it if you're not already interested.
And it's kind of awesome because some people feel a little overwhelmed and they're like 100 and something. It's okay, and I'll tell you a little trick in a minute. But even if you just use a couple of the things, like if you used mine and Elspeth's, then you've already like gotten a bonus. Yes. And the only trick is that Thursday when you wake up and you go, okay, now I really want to buy these things, if you bought everyone separately, because you can, but it's going to cost you over $4,000.
Yeah, yeah, that is the trick. Yeah.
So don't do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to email one of us asking us, and we can't because we don't have control over that. So
And we don't.
yeah, and it will make us sad, and we will feel sad for you. But that's why, if you can afford it, go for it. Do it
And also,
now.
don't be intimidated by the volume, because you have, the sale goes away at midnight Pacific time on March 2nd, but you still have a year to download everything. So it's not like you got to download everything right away. You still have a year to download everything onto your computer, your iPad, your thumb drive, whatever you need. So
Exactly. And here's the difference in this plant-based bundle than some of the others that I've been in. There's lots of the doctors that are doing things, right? And there's
yes.
even some live events that are happening. So you're going to sign up for the bundle, and then I think there's like 5 or 6 different live events you get to attend with, again, no extra cost. It's all included in that $49. There's breathing, there's yoga, there's exercise, there's
Time management.
and that's one I have dog-eared for sure, because my everything gets away from me. And there's so many recipes that if you're brand new and you're wanting to dip your toe into the plant-based community, it's great for you. If you have been doing this a long time, you're going to get some new ideas. So,
Yes.
and my secret trick, which is not so secret, but most people don't scroll. So let's say you've bought it, you're on this page, and you're like, there's 100 things I'm looking through. Keep scrolling all the way down to the bottom. There's a button, download everything. Click. And then it's all done. You can move it into a folder. And you'll also notice that it says something like 7 downloads or something like that. So it doesn't mean you can only look at Elspeth's PDF 7 times. What it means is you get to download it to your computer for unlimited times opening. So when you click that button, all the stuff comes to you, and then you just open it on your computer. Then why the extra numbers up there? Let's say I was lucky and I had bought a new computer and it comes next week. I can download all that again to my computer, or maybe my iPad, so I can take it with me to the store or something like that. So that's just my quick view of, it's not as hard as you think. Trust me.
Right.
And Elspeth, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your background and what brought you to do what you're doing now, where they can find you, all the things. This is your time.
Sure. So you may notice a little bit of an accent. So I was born and raised on a dairy farm in Zimbabwe, which is in central southern Africa. It was a British colony, so people always say, think I'm English, or people think I'm Australian or New Zealand, but I'm Zimbabwean by birth, and was born and raised on the dairy farm, loving animals, but I hadn't made that animal connection with the beef that was on my plate. We had chickens on our farm. My mother had a poultry business, so I grew up eating all the animal products. And then fast forward to 2010. By that stage, I was living in the United States. I live on the east coast of the United States in Annapolis, Maryland, or outside Annapolis. And I had 2 children who are now in their late 20s. And my son, Kyle, 10 years ago, was decided that he wanted to become a vegetarian, just out of the blue. And I was completely shocked, but I wasn't too worried about it because, after all, he was a 15-year-old jock. He played lacrosse. He was, captain of the soccer team. He was really into sports. Like, he wasn't going to last a week without protein, so it wasn't a problem, So I was all for it, no problem. And then a year later, Kyle was still vegetarian. And I sat him down and I said, now look, this experiment's been great, but it has to end now, and time to choose your protein. You can have this, or this. And I made him, I cooked some chicken and sat it down in front of him, and he absolutely refused to eat it. So I was like, well, I guess I can't force him. So luckily, right about that time, so this was 2011, Forks Over Knives had come out recently, and my husband and I decided, well, let's just sit down and watch this documentary. And once we watched it, we just couldn't believe it. And we sort of looked at each other and was like, well, let's give this whole we said vegetarian thing a try. You know, vegan was still going to be too far over for us, but vegetarian was going to be maybe possible for 28 days. We were just going to try it. So we did that. And you know, whenever you learn something new, you sort of dive right in and try to find out everything you possibly can about it. So I did that. I, you know, went online. There wasn't a whole lot back then, but there was enough. I found Gary Yourofsky's speech. I think it's called The Most Important Speech You Will Ever Hear. And this was in the first week of me being vegetarian. I listened to Gary Yourofsky, and it just sort of opened my eyes, and the scales fell off, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, vegetarian doesn't make any sense to me at all. You know, I have to go vegan, because I made that sort of animal connection. So I definitely, you know, say YouTube Gary Yourofsky is the most important speech you'll ever hear. And if that doesn't connect the dots for you, I'm not sure what will. I then dropped everything, animal products, except I was much of a people pleaser. You know, every time I'd go out, if there was butter or eggs and something, you know, I didn't make a stink about it. And it took me a little while before I kind of got the courage up to say, no, I don't eat that, and, you know, realize that I didn't have to do it. So I did that. My husband continued to eat eggs for a while, and then he read Rich Roll's book and thought, okay, well, maybe I can do it too. So he went full vegan. My daughter came home for Thanksgiving that first year. There was no turkey on the table. She was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go vegan too. So we all sort of went together in our own sort of time frame. But right now we're all, you know, plant-based. So much easier for us in our household. And then along the way, I started up the Speedy Vegan. And as I say, not because I move fast, but because I cook fast. So that was just a way of me communicating my recipes and encouraging people, to inspiring people to hopefully give this whole plant-based eating a try.
I love all that. And I love the way that you talked about too, about, you know, each person kind of has to have their own buy-in in the family, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I can't wait to see what you're going to make too, because a lot of times when people, oh, I can't do that because it's going to take too long. I don't want to cut all the vegetables. I don't want to do this, right? It's so expensive. Beans and brown rice are not very expensive. And I'm not saying that's all you can have either. But when you're on a strict budget, you can find a way. When you get to have some spending money, that's when you get to get some fun stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and go full screen and let you do your demo.
Okay. Well, I was on Chef AJ yesterday, and I can't quite see exactly what you're seeing, so you're going to have to help me out, Kathy, if you can't see something. I did a demo yesterday on Chef AJ Live, and I showed everybody how to make stuffed grape leaves. And I thought, well, I'm just going to bring out the recipes that I made yesterday, and then I'm going to show you something new. So I showed everybody how to make a vegan charcuterie board, or a grazing board. I think of a charcuterie board as a board that has a lot of meats and cheeses on. Kathy, can you see this?
We can. We can see everything, even the red dip or pink dip near the front.
Oh, okay. So I'm just going to tell you what's on here. So
it looks beautiful.
I'm going to move these out the way. These are just buckets of kale chips. These are in the plant-based parties class that I have. And, you know, I think gone are the days when we'd all dip our hands into combined bowls of kale chips. Now we have little individual buckets. So I like to do those in little individual buckets. I have my dolmadias, which are stuffed grape leaves here. They're just stuffed with rice and a whole bunch of fresh herbs. They're super delicious. Go on Chef AJ's YouTube live from yesterday, and you'll see how I make those. This is some almond cheese. And I always like to put little signs, you know, saying what it is, so that people know, because I appreciate that when I go to a party. I also have...
It's okay. My dog was barking earlier, so it's just the time of dog barking.
Yeah, everyone starts walking their dogs at this time of day. I also have some mushroom pate. This is very reminiscent of like chicken liver pate. I'm not sure if anyone remembers having that before. We certainly used to eat that. I can't believe it. But this is a lovely mushroom pate. And that's also in my book. And then I have just a regular hummus. This is a red pepper hummus, which is from Sharon McRae's contribution to the bundle. She has I think it's called Plant-Based Families or Meals in Minutes or something like that. But really delicious red pepper hummus. And then the one in the front is just a beet hummus.
Beets, yay!
Yeah, just another fun way to get beets into us. And then right here, I have, these are called crunchy curried sticks, crunchy curried carrot sticks or something. And these are from Lissa from Raw Food Romance, from her book that's part of the bundle, the Burger Book. And it's an absolutely beautiful book. These are raw food as well. So these are dehydrated. And I always like to have some raw options. I use cucumber as crackers rather than regular crackers often. And obviously some fresh fruit. I have a few raw vegans in my family and my friend circle. So I like to have some raw options as well. So that's the charcuterie board or grazing board. We had this on our dinner table last night, and it looks like we didn't really make a good dent in it. I packed a whole lot of the dolmadias and the hummus and all of this into my husband's lunchbox today as well. So, you know, food goes from the dinner table, snack table, into lunchboxes as well. So, and perfect for picnics.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. One of the things I'll do sometimes when I make an almond cheese or something like that, especially in the fall, is put out some thin apple slices too to put it on. I bet you already do that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
So I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute, Kathy, and then show you what else I'm going to make. So give me 1 second.
That sounds great. And Thea says, I do appreciate that people are making recipes from different offerings in the bundle. And there's so much to choose from. And there is so much to choose from.
There really is, yeah. Whilst I was over there putting that board down, I realized I also have a big tray of, these are chocolate chip banana muffins, and they're in the, I think in the lunchbox prep class. I'm not sure which class they're in, but these are absolutely fabulous. They have about 8 bananas. They sugar, oil, salt-free, except if you use sugared chocolate chips, but you know, you can find the vegan ones. They also go great with blueberries instead of chocolate chips. So those are just another thing that's in my plant-based parties, potlucks, picnics, and prep class.
I'm just impressed. I feel like you need to teach me a pronunciation class because you're so good. I would have tripped over that like 80,000 times.
I think, you know, we've all been saying the same thing all week because we're just trying to get everybody to be excited about the bundle like we are and not miss out on this opportunity. So I've perfected the plant-based parties, potlucks, picnics, and prep.
Yeah, I think you deserve a medal. And I have a friend, I don't know if you know Howard Jacobson's wife, Mia.
Oh, I do. I love Howard Jacobson.
Okay, and Howard Jacobson's wife, both of them are very good friends of mine. So when I was hearing your accent, I was trying to place it. And so Mia's from South Africa. I think you guys have a little bit of a difference, but once you said that, then I could pick out some of the things that were similar. Hello, puppy. Who's a good girl or good boy?
This is Prince. He's a German Shepherd.
What a good boy.
That we've had for about 2 years now. He's absolutely the best dog ever, really.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, and Tish is asking, is the meals and minutes in the bundle? I downloaded all 111, and we give you a round of applause for getting that done.
Yes, it's, I might have messed up the name of it. I don't know if Sharon McRae is watching, but she could type in the right name. It's Sharon McRae is the name of the author of it, and it has something about family meals and minutes or something like that. I wish I could remember it.
I'll look it up while you're cooking.
Yeah. Kathy, you can tell me if I need to put the dog away. I don't know how much you're hearing. So
I'm hearing everything just fine.
Okay. All right. So the recipe that I thought I'd show you quickly, I just decided this literally, a few minutes before we started, because I was starting to make dinner for my husband, and he called in this order. He likes to call in his dinner order. So this is called, I think it's called the summer flatbread is what we call it in the recipe book.
Summer flatbread.
Sorry. So I went ahead and made one, and then I'm going to go backtrack and show you how I make the crust. So this is what the flatbread comes out. This is made with quinoa, and it's super crispy. I'm going to crisp it a little bit. You can hear how crunchy it is.
Yes.
So
is it gluten-free, Elspeth?
It's just quinoa, water, garlic, and oregano or herbs de Provence, so completely gluten-free. And everyone's always looking for a gluten-free pizza crust. Actually,
Yes.
let me go back to that one. You can see it better. So what I do with this is I blend up. Can you see over here, Kathy?
Yes, I can see all the things that you're showing. You're looking good.
Okay. So I made half the recipe. I went ahead and cooked already, which is this. The other half is still in my blender. And all I have in the blender is, a cup of quinoa and a couple of cloves of garlic and some herbs de Provence. I think the recipe that I have written, I talk about using oregano, but herbs de Provence has a whole lot more herbs in it and a whole bunch of flavors that I like that remind me of summer, because a lot of my family live in the south of France, so we often go there in the summertime, and I love that flavor. So I put that in here.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Yes.
The quinoa, other than washing it, did you do anything else? Is it soaked or cooked, or is it just?
I soaked it for about 3 hours, and then and sometimes I just cheat on that and I don't soak it. So like today, but you're supposed to soak it, and then I drain off the water, and then I add some water to this.
Got it.
It's all in the recipe, but today I didn't. I just simply put it in the blender with the water. So I had to up the amount of water. So I'm not really good at following my recipes to a T. I often just fudge a little. So I'm just going to blend this up a little tiny more because it's been sitting for a while and it might have thickened up. I might have to add a little more water. So just give me 2 seconds here. But you have to be polite. Okay. So this is the quinoa and water and fresh herbs and flavoring. If you want, you can put some salt-free seasoning in here. And then you end up with this thin batter. So I have a piece of parchment paper that I'm just placing on here. This is where the other one had baked. I'm going to place it on my board here. And then I'm just going to pour out this batter. And as I say, this is half the recipe. So usually I'm making one big one. Today I'm just doing 2 small ones. And then I just pick up the baking tray and I just swivel it around and try and get an even thickness on the parchment paper, like that.
Oh, I
and
love
then
it.
I pop that in my oven, which I'm going to just cook that for about 20 minutes. We probably won't still be going here, when it comes out. But when it does come out, it's crispy on the one side and still a little bit soft underneath. And I just very carefully flip it over and I peel back the parchment paper. So you just keep peeling back the parchment paper from the back, but not like a Band-Aid because you'll rip up the back of the crust. You just want to peel it very gently. And then I put it back into the oven and I cook it for another 8 minutes. And then you get to this stage. So this is the bottom side.
It looks amazing.
Top side. And it's really quite crunchy. So I'll put that on my board. And then in the recipe book that I give, I have a recipe for pesto. And this just takes minutes to make this pesto. It really is very quick. It's fresh herbs, so a lot of fresh basil. I use arugula in the pesto. I use spinach in the pesto. I use some zucchini, nutritional yeast. There are a few walnuts in here, and I usually leave out the pine nuts. I don't love pine nuts, but they are in the recipe. So I just take a bunch of pesto, and this is why it's definitely a summer, I call it a summer flatbread, because it's got all the flavors of summer. And hopefully in a few months, my garden's going to be full of fresh basil and fresh herbs, because that's about all I can grow here. Are you a gardener, Kathy?
I container garden a little bit, but I used to have, a couple of years ago, I had 10 kinds of mint. So sometimes I'll have different kinds of mint, oregano, or basil, but right now we've had such a weird weather that I've lost most of them.
Yeah, I'm always listening in. I listen to Howard Jacobson's podcast, and I'm always listening into his gardening news. And in gardening news, then he goes about what's growing in his garden. So they're pretty good.
Their garden is beautiful. And what happens is Mia gives me a lot of my herbs. So I get like Tulsi basil from her that I dry and use during the year. and things like that. But we call her in my classes, they're like, did the basil lady come yet?
That's cute. That's really cute. So anyway, so I've got my pesto on top of the flatbread here. And again, this is just a little itty bitty individual size one. And then I just top it with, I happen to love arugula. Like there's something about arugula that just draws me in. I add some arugula on top. You can use mixed salad greens or baby spinach would be another topping. So I put that on top. And then I have some yellow bell peppers here, which I've just sliced up, fairly thinly. You can put up whatever you want on top of your little flatbread. And I've got some cherry tomatoes. And these are another thing that I can grow in my garden. I just quarter up the cherry tomatoes and sprinkle those over the top. Sometimes I put purple cabbage on here just for a pop of color.
Ooh.
I'm gonna pop those on. So I have tomatoes. So I do that. And then actually I went ahead and made my dinner salad. I just have to show you this.
That's gorgeous.
Isn't that pretty? So I'm gonna just pilfer some of the purple cabbage off the top of it. So I can put that on just to make it look pretty. And then I can also, actually I could cut into some avocado slices would look really nice on here too, and that would be delicious. As part of the class, I talk about sprouting and show people how to do sprouting. I'm a big sprouter. I grow broccoli sprouts all the time, so I can put some sprouts on here. An acquired taste, the broccoli sprouts, but I just crave them now. So you could put some alfalfa sprouts or some microgreens if that's your thing. And then you could top it with a little bit of vegan Parmesan. This happens to be a Brazil nut Parmesan. So I just sprinkle a little bit of that over the top, completely optional. And there, my friends, you have a summer flatbread ready to go.
Ooh, it looks so good.
Yeah.
So when are you moving near me? That's what I need to know. I'm going to switch it.
Wouldn't that be fun? I think we could start a little colony down there.
I know that everyone could have a cooking day off, right?
Oh, yeah. And I volunteer to cook every day. I absolutely love cooking. My happy place is in front of the chopping board. For me, it's like playing video games. I was trying to explain it to my son once, and I was like, it's probably like you playing video games. This is what I love to do.
Oh, I love that. And so this meets so many needs in that people are like, I don't want to just eat salad. I miss crunchy things, right? Because we think of crunchy things being something that's been put in a vat of hot oil, right? But no, this pizza crust is crunchy and it would satisfy that perfect. I know we're going to hear it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you cut right through it, and it's going to break apart a little bit and then just crunch into it. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to choke. But, it's super crunchy and delicious. And it's got all the flavors, It's got the brightness of, it does check off a lot of boxes.
I love it because I can't have gluten either. And I just wanted to see, with your permission, there's a couple of things that people who are nut-free could do. Like the Parmesan, I make an oat-based Parmesan that doesn't have any nuts. So basically you toast the uts. Talk too much talking. I toast the oats in a pan. And what happens is you smell them and they start to smell like nuts. And then when you put them with the nutritional yeast and your favorite salt substitute, it really gives you that kind of Parmesan. You could also do those toasted oats in the pesto instead of nuts as well.
That's a great idea. I'm definitely going to try that. Is that one? Tell me about some of the recipes that are in your book that you're offering, your course, that maybe there's a sauce as well that I could drizzle over the top of this, something different beside the Parmesan.
There are a couple of things. Though that pesto looked really good. So the oat Parmesan, there's a recipe for that on healthyslowcooking.com and some of the other mixes. This class has 6 different mixes. So it has 2 things, and they're all dry, all pantry stable. So there's like a chickeny kind of bouillon, a beefy kind of dry bouillon. Actually, this is the beefy one.
Yeah.
And I think this makes a creamy sauce. And I've made it where I put some rosemary in there. It's almost Alfredo-like. So you could put
Lovely.
some fresh rosemary from the garden would be killer. Or
Yes.
some different things like that. And I wish you lived nearby because I have like 3 of these now from demoing the cheese sauce.
Oh, yeah, I saw you making the cheese sauce. I think maybe it was on Chef AJ's. I was out
See?
walking my dog and I had to keep pulling my phone out, looking at this cheese sauce, and I couldn't wait to get home and make some zucchini noodles because I thought that would be a delicious combination with it, right?
Oh, it
Yeah.
would. And kind of I don't have any butternut squash now, but I think the Alfredo with a little bit of rosemary, some sage, maybe a little poultry seasoning. Although herbs de Provence would be
Good,
not
good
because
for it.
I'm like I love lavender and things like that. So when you said herbs de Provence, it gave me a little shiver. Um, and that would be amazing over butternut squash noodles
That would be
in the
super.
fall.
Yeah. Okay. We should be neighbors, Kathy. we
Um,
could we could on all the things.
well, and then if you're like me at all, because I'm always like, use your neurosis for the power of good. I get a little obsessive. So as you can see, like now I've done 2 dry mix classes and I'm planning 2 more. So I'm like
Oh
all the
wow.
things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's so genius. Honestly, I'm really excited, and I'm really excited at the thought of your products maybe being marketed. I thought that was a great idea. I heard a little rumor about that too.
I know I do have a conversation next week when I come back from Chicago, so we'll see. And
Very nice.
I feel like last year I was just very quiet about things, and just as an aside, it seems like today in every live we're having some sort of life lesson. So
Yeah,
I will put that people can't say yes if you don't ask,
right.
right? And I feel like a lot of times you speak something and then you speak it out into the world. I don't know if you feel
True.
that way at all.
Yeah, I definitely do. I know I had a day last week when I was like, oh, what am I doing? It's, this is crazy. And then suddenly I, just sort of like put my shoulders back, changed my attitude, and told my husband exactly what was going to happen. And guess what? It's all happening. So, it's like you have to say it out into the world, and then it is so, right?
It's true. And just the same way with all this food and stuff. Like I am so excited because I used to make pizza all the time before I went gluten free. I used Julie Hassan's recipe, which
Uh
is
huh.
wonderful. And I did finally get some stuff that I can make her gluten free crust.
Yeah.
But this is super accessible.
Yeah, this is
Like,
so easy, and it's in a snap. I mean, you can make it quickly. You don't have to soak the quinoa. You can absolutely skip that step. Just up the water that you add to the quinoa when you blend it. So you just want that consistency of the batter that you can pour out. So it's really great. And as we know, quinoa is packed with protein, and it's delicious. So
it's
I know.
brilliant. It's a really amazing idea, and I really appreciate it. I know you have limited time today, so I do not want to keep you. Well, I do want to keep you, and for a long time, and chat with you. But I know I need to let you be free and feed your family. But
Oh,
thank you.
thanks, Kathy. Yeah, it's really fun to talk. Oh, wait, you know what I didn't do is I have this big basil plant right here, and I didn't. And I always like to, put a little garnish of that,
Oh,
and then maybe take another leaf of fresh basil and just sort of sprinkle that over the top because that's going to give you that nice Italian flavor. So there you go. That's the quinoa flatbread with all the summer flavors, and I am going to maybe have this one here in the oven and save, have this one, save the other one for my husband. But I'm a huge salad eater as well, so this is not going to be enough for me. I'm going to have this big, beautiful salad as well. That's full of color and fruit, and I'm going to have a really good dinner. What can I say?
well, you could say I'm going to make it for you too next time. But I understand it's too far a drive for dinner, but at some point I have a feeling I'm going to be able to taste your food. But
That would be wonderful. Yeah, we're getting
I'm
there, right?
yeah, we're getting there. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this and showing us all your cool stuff. I'm super excited about making this quinoa pizza. I leave for Chicago, but next week it's on my menu. The end.
Do make it, and if anybody else makes it, definitely tag me on the Speedy Vegan on Instagram. Follow me at the Speedy Vegan on Instagram. That's probably where I sort of do most of my chitter chatter. I do have a Facebook group called The Speedy Vegan, but Instagram's probably where I'm at the most for this kind of thing, because it's quick and easy and you don't have to write a lot of words. You can put a lot of pretty pictures.
I like that. That's smart. Well, thank
Yeah.
you again so much. It's such a pleasure. And I think I may be continuing doing an interview series, so you're going to hear from me again.
Super. Absolutely. I'd love to, Kathy. Thank you so much. And I really have learned so much from you over the years, and I really appreciate you having me on. So have a great trip to Chicago, and thanks everybody. Everybody enjoy the bundles if you've already bought it, and take a look if you haven't.
And join me back at 6 o'clock when I do my final bundle extravaganza interview. And Marilyn said it was great. Gina says thank you. And Thea says thank you. Everybody enjoyed it. And everybody, I'll see you back in a few minutes. I'm going to get some water and have a lovely, amazing dinner tonight.
Thanks, Kathy. Lovely to be with you.